of interest because to me, the food part, the health part is of interest to me. To me, the meditation part is of interest to me because I directly know what impacts me. To me would be, I don't know, what else? I could go to a dancing class where I dance and I come out of there and I'm enriched and I'm better, I let go. That to me is interesting. But, but the education, for example, but I'm sure there are people who are on this path that have this education and, they have kids that want their kids to grow up in a better way than we did, for example. That it will appeal to a different type of a crowd, So I think each and every topic will appeal to a various of us. There are musicians who would be interested in certain, for example, the arts and stuff like that. That would be the one that would be in that class. So I think we just have to kind of arrange it so that it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm asking for you, like specifically for you. That's all, like, again, like what is it that you. Because Gaiaville for me is meeting needs that don't exist right now, right? And they're higher standards, energetically and at all levels.
To me personally, I'm here because I truly believe, I truly get great, I don't know how to say it, peace, comfort, in like sort of spiritual advancement. And that's why I come to appear, and that's what directly relates to me. To me, Gaiaville is that. If I'm going to go on a weekend retreat, I'm going to go because I'm going to learn about life, how to be better, how to clear myself, how to become. So personally, that's the angle for me that's interesting. So I don't know. I guess everybody has their own.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
We all have our own agendas.
And that's what's so beautiful, right? The tapestry is rich, right? So as you were saying before, Naira, one of the things that I think is really important is learning, for example, how to grow your own food. So Gaiaville is also about that. It's about how to create sustainable farming practices. Become aware of all of the things that, let's say, there is a bill in Congress right now that's trying to move to basically hold the corporation that are growing the bad food non-liable for anything. And of course there's the summit that's happening in Paris right now. It's the food stuff become very socio-political.
Yeah.
Okay? Because to try to actually have healthy food, to some people, it's an act of defiance because they want you to not to eat real food, but to eat food-like products.
Yeah.
Okay? And so to educate yourself. When I was growing up in the Caribbean, we never thought about anything. I never heard the term organic because everything we grew
was organic.
The term didn't even exist. We didn't have any pesticides. We just didn't know this. And it was like a whole education when I came to the state to realize at the first 10 years of my life in the state, I was eating food like product. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
And then slowly I began to learn, and I'm now proponent for us to have healthy foods. Right?
Yeah.
The other thing as well is that I'm very so that also being another aspect of Gaiaville. Of course, the wellness and healthcare is a big component.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of people in mind as future guest speakers, including Dr. Eugene Perlov, who collaborated with me and Bobby and other healers, energy healers on multiple cases. But him and his family, I don't know if you're all aware of this, just moved upstate by me in the mountains. They are no longer in New York City.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They just moved. They've been talking about this for years, that they were going to leave New York. So I'm not sure what they're doing with the brownstone they own in Brooklyn. I think it might be for sale now. But they are...
Hello, Gaiaville, Brooklyn.
That's right.
Serious.
Exactly. they are now living upstate in their houses, which was their summer house, their kids and all that. And that's why we haven't seen them throughout all of these meetings. So I want Dr. Perloff and maybe Lauren, his wife, to actually talk one of these months about their effort to try to create, well, it's not going to be really their effort, it will be their frustration, because they are very frustrated with modern medicine. And they are holistic doctors in the sense that and one of the things that Eugene was saying to me on the Confront Conversation sidebar was that in all of the practice that he has tried to, and even upstate where he's at, there is a clinic where once a month they have open to the community, anyone can come in, and all these practitioners come in and it's for free. They come in to get various alternative treatments. He said, unfortunately, it's not like what I was proposing that we did for the Gaiaville Wellness and Healthcare, which is cooperative practice, where the healer, the herbalist, the MDs, and the naturopathic doctors all work on making sure that this one client healing gets accelerated. So all the modalities are working for one cause. He's saying that some people just goes to, there is a list, they sign up to this person, that there is no cooperation, which is unfortunate. Because when I was working with him, there are things that I energetically perceived and I didn't know what they were. So I would just, and it's great to be able to call to a doctor, an MD, and say to them, I have perceived in a vision XYZ, without him laughing, go, blah, you know. The cuckoo healer is trying to come up with some weird information. He takes that very seriously, and then we talk about it, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times, Bobby, who was doing the dowsing, we were able to direct him. We were able to say through the dowser or through what I perceive, there are additional pathogens. Do XYZ test to check. And of course, when the tests were done, discovery was made that there was additional stuff going on. What would have taken months of testing.
Wow.
In normal practice, okay? Months and months of like, this one, no, eliminate, no, negative, this one, until I saw it, and then I asked Bobby to check, she checked, she said yes, and then we went through it. You see, that's accelerating cooperative practice. That to me, I see as an incredible value.
Yeah.
Very few. There's a lot of clinics, a lot of hospitals that are, even New York Hospital, are calling, they have sections that will have integrative practices, but this is not what's being done. Like if there is a yoga practice to it or meditation practice, that's completely separated. The patient does this separately from the practitioners are not talking to each other.
Yeah.
And that's the shame, because we can give value to each other and we can actually help accelerate the healing. And that's the mistake.
So I don't think we accelerate the healing. The body and the mind has its natural intelligence. We're just supporting it. Right. So I really am big, like, I know what you mean.
Yep. But thank you for the correction.
I really want to lift that up, because people, especially practitioners or healers and everybody, like, that's something that I feel like more and more in my practice or where I go, I'm just pushing that message more, because that to me is also basic tenet of Gaiaville, right? It's the natural energies that already exist, that's intelligent and at play. We haven't been respectful for it. Just like Pierre, you talk about how, we don't need to save Mother Earth, right? Like, it's our stuff. So similarly, it's the same principle that we're not healing anybody, right? We're supporting it for the natural energies to naturally reset and work its magic in this way. So, I just really want to, I know you won't take it personally. I'm just repeating it just because I want to make sure, like, that is you know, no, not brainwashed, but that message is, you know, reiterated like more and more. So,
Thank you, Shweta. And I have to tell you, I appreciate this more than you can imagine, because in my healing practice, one of the things that this is a pet peeve of mine, of all of the healers, psychic or spiritual teachers, who are constantly trying to force breakthrough to clients. And what they do, they end up fracturing them. And I keep talking all the time about the fact that the human soul and psyche is intelligent, and in time will find its own path toward healing. Yes. And all I have to do is basically support the natural timing of this very person's soul.
Yes.
And that's all I'm doing. And a lot of time, all I do is that I keep talking to their higher self. I keep telling my client all the time, if I'm looking over your head all the time, it's not because I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to check with your higher self to find out if there are certain topics that are off limit. I can't say it. I can give you a hint so that it will plant a seed, so that you can, in your own time, it will grow into your natural healing.
Yeah.
So I'm completely with you on that.
Yeah, and the other thing is, when it comes to integrative practices, I feel, you know, as someone who's building a self-healing movement through my work in different ways and align with people who believe in that, that is also missing, right? So in a weird way, and we've talked about this, the entrepreneurial world, when it comes to practitioners or whatnot, there's subtle ways that keep people tied, right, to their services, and that's being also of disservice. And so really infusing self-healing practices and supporting them in that, and then do it, you know, like be on your own, check in when you need to, but really emphasizing, to me, that's what Gaiaville is. Like, we're all self-healers. We all have inner doctors within. I mean, that's the movement, you know, like I'm creating in my practice and slowly in other systemic ways as well. So I just feel like that is what I don't see in a lot of integrative practices, that the practitioners in integrative aren't emphasizing self-healing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And to your point, the clinic we want to create in New York City, ultimately, when we go for a crowdfunding campaign, I have designed it to have a full teaching kitchen where people can learn not only, I mean, you can go certainly to all the different practitioners, but moreover, a lot of self-healing has to do with eating better food. That's the real pharmacy, which is not only about the energy and the stuff, but also learning how to treat your body correctly. Because if you can impact yourself by the stuff that you're taking, if it's wrong for you, it's going to hurt, it's going to harm the body, right? But if you are taking the right stuff for you, it will actually support your healing. So I was very, part of the vision that as we had discussed it, was to actually have a facility in which we can have, and I don't want it to appear, some people might come in and just for the cooking classes, for them to learn about nutrition, you know, and then that's just the component that they need. You know, there is a doctor that does, he's big on functional medicine. I have also that website, the video bookmark, and he was talking about, as a matter of fact, the way he became a functional medicine doctor is that he got diagnosed very young in his 40s with cancer. And everything that he took was killing him. And then he remembered a crazy doctor that he had met years before who said some crazy stuff to him. And out of desperation, he began to apply it, and then, which is about nutrition, and he began to be better. And so the movement is not, it's kind of slightly different than integrative medicine. They're calling it functional medicine in a sense that he's trying to teach people how to eat better. And I think, I forgot which hospital is now funding a $6 million clinic for him. And he kept saying to them, why would you want to do that? Because I'm going to put you out of business. because by the time I teach all of this, there will be no more sick people. You're going to be out of business. And so very, very interesting perception. But we all know this to be true.
Yeah.
Okay, just add a thought. You know, maybe our system really should pattern after the Chinese system, or at least the way the Chinese medicine system used to be, where you paid the doctor when you were well because he supported you, preventive medicine, nutrition, all these things. But if you got sick, he took care of you for free. So it was to his advantage to keep you healthy, not to gain his income from your illness.
You know what? That's a great idea, and maybe this is the way we will attempt to fund the clinic. Okay, instead of having a wellness and healthcare system where, because we still haven't figured out how we're gonna, because we talked about because some people don't have money, some people can afford, and then there's insurance, there's all of that, and we still haven't figured out how we're gonna do this. So
it has to be underground.
Yeah. No, we know that. But it would be interesting if that was a way for us to approach it, which is you only get paid. And the way I saw it was more like a subscription, like a cooperative practice, which is like depending on the number of time you estimate that you're gonna. This is what I thought so far. That the more number of time that you thought you were gonna go to, let's say, for example, for me, I never go to the doctor. It's horrible, but I don't. Okay, so for me to have an insurance system, care system that I'm paying into, makes even when I had an insurance thing, I would go maybe once a year or once every 2 years at maximum. Okay. But having said this, there are people who, if I had better healthcare and better experience, maybe I would have gone more often. Okay, that could be also the reason. So for me, the one thing that I wanna, Shweta, you have a branch behind you that's alive, that's moving. It's so sweet. It's not all. Anyway, yeah. So,
it's my cosmic channel.
Your cosmic channel. So, and the final piece, which is what we're talking about now, is a great segue of the Gaiaville effort, which is the commerce and the economy. How do we exchange with each other? Okay? How do we place value, and how do we provide each other, exchange services? How do we give and receive? Okay? Now, we still live in the real world and with the real money to get things done, but we might want to have a two-ring effect, an inner ring that has to do with all of us within the community dealing with each other one way, and then we might have an outside ring that when outside people come into the community, they can help, because we're going to need money to create things, to pay for the bills, the clinic, the practitioners, et cetera, right? The furniture, the rent, the electricity, et cetera. So we need to figure out a way to do this. I like the concept because I was thinking of as a subscription that you can buy into and you can increase as needed, like at a minimum three times a year, every trimester, right? You can go to a doctor every trimester, and then there is a value that's placed on this. Or you might want to do it once a month, and there's a value. And then there's a third system, as you need, and then you place a value into it, right? But your idea, Janice, is interesting, that when you're ill and you're not well, you don't pay. That you're paying only when you're well. And if there's a small stipend that's given on a monthly basis, like a subscription, okay? And as long as I'm well, I'm not sick, I'm fine, but when I'm not well, So that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I mean, I feel in our world, I love it. I mean, ideally, I love the principles, and it's part of ancient wisdom, right? For sure. I feel, I mean, we all know this when people kind of also take advantage of it, and it's going to be a test and trial for sure, right? How that flows, like with anything. But when things are free, and also empowering them, right, as well. That it's not about us. You don't rely on us. Like this is, you have to actually do the work involved to get the shifts. But yeah, it'll be an interesting experiment for sure.
Yes, but I think that with the collaborative involvement of all of these practitioners that could assess a person's liabilities for health problems, suggest a meditation, a prayer, nutrition, homeopathic, Ayurvedic, acupuncture, mind, body, spirit approach to resolving what is perceived as a misalignment in some way, that would be an optimum state people would certainly, I think, want to have. Not that they would want, I want to get sick so I can go and get treated for nothing, for free. At least at my age, I certainly welcome being well and don't look to engage doctors in extended treatments for sickness. I feel the possibility to live well is encased in that idea.
The only thing that I'm going to add to this is that I feel that if we were, thank you, Janice, for this. We can try it out, and if it doesn't work, we adjust it. Okay. Because you're right. I understand where Shweta is coming from, because you will find always somebody who will try to finagle their way out. There's always somebody who's trying to be the smart one and find a loophole somewhere. We may not see it now, but there's always some hacker somewhere that's trying to hack something.
So I'm hoping our vibration of the mission and vision and all of us will only attract who will be in gratitude and appreciate that maybe not now, they don't have the money, but it'll come back to us tenfold afterwards, right? And that they're in that place of giving afterwards when they're better, which I think what the principle is saying, that Janice, that you've laid out, is that they're well and they're in a better place later because of the support they've received, that they will then, no holds barred, unlimited. I mean, that happens all the time in our practices too, right? People like, wow, oh my gosh, and people just give, as well. So I'm hoping to attract that we attract those folks.
Yes.
I just want to I know everybody's, so I just want to try to kind of structure this as to where does this, so what are we talking about? Are we talking about these monthly calls and every 3 months the meeting? Are we talking about where does this fit in? You know what I mean?
Yep. I'm going to get right into it. So the reason why I went through all of these various projects is to actually ask you now to email the group. You have everybody else's email. Ideas for speakers or people that you know. Okay, for future calls and future conference call. Additionally, starting January, I want a month in advance by December to start advertising the call and what we're doing, and to also blast it on Facebook and mass media, inviting other people to join the conversation.
Okay, what's the first?
I'm sorry. Can I just? Hello?
Can
you hear me?
You're echoing. You have to mute something.
Let me just make sure close here.
This
This
is
is Ursula.
Yes.
okay. It's
Okay, it's
better
better
now.
now, right?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I need to.
You still echo. You still have an echo. You need to mute your computer. Okay, go ahead.
My computer, it's off. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I need to leave, to come to the class.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, I just want to mention, because I really liked the discussion around the format that just went around, what Janice proposed. And I really loved what she reminded of, like, supporting the system and supporting the doctors of being proactive in prevention and keeping us well, instead of, the opposite. And you can probably talk to it some more, but we discussed when we talked about the formats is the format of like having the membership in the clinic. And I think membership is a good way of where people can contribute with small amounts of, let's say if each person pays $50 per year or something to that extent, if we have enough people, they can support a handful of doctors and still not required of people of having an ongoing expense, but not relying of paying for being sick or being in emergencies. So I was just kind of wanted to add that to the picture.
Okay.
And and other than that, I'm gonna leave now so I can be in class. So enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Okay, see you soon.
See you soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, can I just jump in, because I'll just before everybody goes, if in my opinion, of course, first we need the topic for discussion for January. Like, what are we going to discuss? That once we have the topic, and it should be a striking and interesting topic that people are going to make sure that they join in. And it also should be a little bit different than the usual stuff that we hear every day. It should bring some kind of a differentiation element so that people are going to commit themselves to come. That's number one. I mean, I understand about the clinic and everything like that, but for now, my brain is like very narrow, so it only goes in one direction. So what I want to do is discuss, okay, so we have 3 meetings coming up in January, February, March. Number one, I think it's to discuss what are the topics for these January, February, March. Should be fun, should be exciting, should be something that, wow, you know what, I'm going to get out of here and look what I'm going to get out of this, and hopefully some kind of a differentiation. So once we decide on the topics, then we can email on everybody and discuss who are the best possible speakers that could speak on these topics, So once the topic is, we decide on, okay, so this is what we're going to do, we'll get the people accordingly that can talk about it. Then once we have the speaker in place, what we could do is we could create an event on Facebook. Here, I've seen your Facebook, you don't have following. You should have not only friends, but followers, so people can follow you. So whatever you post, they're not necessarily your friends, but they can see whatever it is that you post. So then that can be changed, of course. So then once we have the topic of discussion, we know who's going to discuss. What we could do is create an event and tell everybody in the community to invite their friends. My opinion, we could make it a paid one so that people commit. So, and if not much, maybe a little bit, because when you don't make it paid, something comes up. But when I pay $20 or $15, I'm like, you know what, I paid for this, I might as well just join it, maybe. That's my opinion, but that it's up to you completely if you want to make it for free, whatever. So I think these are the next steps. The most important is the topic, number 2, and second is a speaker. Then the advertisement of it comes naturally. If it's fun, if it's exciting, and if people are interested in it, if we're giving value to people and we're giving some kind of a differentiated angle on a topic that's vitally maybe discussed or not, then they'll come. That's the bottom line, I think.
Terrific. I like that idea, and thank you for your valued comment. And what we can do, we will email each other in the next few days.
Why don't you email the whole group? This way.
I will. Yeah. And we, ideas for different topics, and I'm gonna kind of like start a conversation going.
Yeah.
Okay, so that
So the other part, I feel, what I would like to see more of, it's a typical model there of one presenter on a call, right? When it comes to content, what I find really engaging, right? Because a lot of these calls are like, listen to me talk, and it's like, oh my God, like it's great, you get value out of it, but I would love to see, which I think is different, is having 2 or 3 people like engaging and then having the group engage together, right? And maybe 3 might be too much. I mean, we're going to have to experiment with it, but I think that is sparking more, like it sparks discussion and with the audience as well. So that's something I would like to propose and put out there. And if January, what I would see is, everybody's on the Western calendar, New Year's mind and frame of rebirthing and, oh God, I really need to get my shit together mode. What can I do? Right? Kind of mode. So catering it to that, because that's where people might be at, right?
Yeah.
New Year's resolution, trying to get healthy and better.
Yeah, and so, but one thing, I mean, a topic that I've done for Ayurvedic stuff, which I always focus on, is the myths of the wellness world. Because it's like Naira said, sorry, am I pronouncing your name right? We hear all this stuff all the time, so it's like, all right, like, especially those already in the holistic world, it's like becomes so dry and boring, in this way. And so, always aiming to, what is it, challenging ourselves and challenging the status quo within not just the mainstream, but within the holistic spiritual world, right? Which, Pierre, one of the ways you do it is like cultivate a practice, right? Like you're not going to get anywhere without practice, right? And so, that's one of the key things you value. So something like, the myths of the healthy world or wellness world or something like that could be very interesting and engaging, because like, holy cow, like one of the things I'm like, eat fat, you need cholesterol in today's world, and people are like, what? And I explain why, but people think cholesterol's bad or this or that, and how you can actually, why good cholesterol is important and this or that, but in the Ayurvedic perspective way, right? Not like in other ways. So I don't know, like things like that where people need to rethink things, I think is really important. And also think it in a way for their own context, right? Not just because some blog is telling them or even a practitioner is telling them something.
I think you guys are in this world. I think you're in the spiritual world. You're in the wellness and that. So let's think from your perspective, what is missing? What is it that people want to hear that we're not getting? Because I can open up on my internet like this, and there's millions of topics come up. Everybody's writing about health. Everybody's writing about cholesterol. Everybody's writing. There's 5 different studies coming out every month that I hear about personally. And so I'm going to spend the hour or 2 hours or whatever it is that I'm going to go to. I'm going to get something that, first of all, impact the group that that's going to come, that's going to be interested in. So, I mean, initially, we don't have a big pool of people and a following to say, well, we're going to discuss a topic that's not necessarily that relates to them. You know what I mean? These are different groups we're talking about. Number one is the one that's the more holistic, spiritual type of a group, and then maybe it extends further. But in my opinion, your primary target audience as of now are these holistic. So as you said, you need to find a topic that's within you guys, not you guys, me too, I guess. I don't know, I'm part of it maybe.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. So what's the topic that's going to interest us to kind of be here? And then once we get this going and rolling, then you start increasing your pool. Then you start saying, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to tell somebody else, you know what? This is very interesting. This would relate to you. Then we could change the topics and play around with these type of things. But number one is fun, interesting, value, and what's going to get me to come and join this. And possibly, I don't know if you want to pay, but pay the $15.
I like it. I mean, this is a way to fundraise for Gaiaville, right? We need to, it doesn't have to be like you said, Naira. It could be even like $10 or $11, whatever.
As long as it's kind of, it's commitment. When people pay, they somehow commit in a way.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But in my opinion, for $10, but it has to be a super, like a striking heading. I like headings that are striking, that's going to draw people, because that's all. And we can work on in the invite and how to make it,
Well, right. One of the topics that I think interests me and always has been the driving motivation for me personally is the way I can impact change, particularly as it relates to sustainable living.
Right.
What are the practical things that I can do right now where I am to make my life more sustainable? Okay. What are the change that I can initiate in my life to make my, like I was talking before about just to get away from the bottled water. Simple little thing that will make a big difference. Get away in terms of food and nutrition. What are the things that I can do to actually make I know somebody that can actually do a great job at this, okay? Andrew Faust, who's a permaculture guy. He's spoken at several of our Gaiaville. You know him, Shweta. He's extraordinary. I have a man crush on him. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He just all of this, but every time he speaks, his knowledge is like, I could hear you speak for hours. Candle, light candle. But
make sure he PRs it out to his people.
Yes. What I'm saying is that, how can we right now in the city become simply become much more, make change into our system and make our life more sustainable.
Okay, so that could be one topic. What we could do is we could come up with like 3-4 topics that we think are interesting. Then we throw it around to the wider audience, like that email, and we say, okay, so what would you come to?
I have a suggestion to move things forward. Naira, can you post it in the Facebook group? Being like, this is what we talked about in today's meeting, and this is what we want to bring. So post your ideas and desires.
Where is the Facebook group? Is there?
There's a Gaiaville LLC Facebook page, and there's a Gaiaville projects, plural projects. Okay, and just post it in.
Yeah. Why are there two?
Because one is a non-for-profit, the other one is the for-profit. I don't know why. We should maybe we should.
Yeah, we need to make
merge
it.
Merge it. Make
it. Okay, so I think I just need to be made an administrator on this.
Yes, I will.
Please make me an administrator. Then I'll post it. But I don't know how much I will be able to time to kind of have the time to become involved in the thread. And then, from my perspective, what I want to have is people come up with ideas, and at the end of the day we come up with 4 topics or 5 topics, we throw it around, we make sure that we kind of settle on one.
Okay.
Can you do the timeline for us, and internally via email let us know what the timeline is?
I could do the timeline. So do you want me to just send out an email to everybody and ask, or you want me just to do it on Facebook?
Let's do it an internal email first, and then after that, and then we can go on Facebook and put it there.
Before I do, I think I want to get an idea of a couple of topics that we want to discuss. I think just throwing it out there, it's like people are not. It's difficult to get people.
Aside from this topic on how what changes can I make personally to make my life more sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be one topic, right? The other one would be Shweta was talking about the myth of wellness, okay? Debunking what's healthy and what's not healthy.
Mythbusters.
Like myth, not just around food and health. It's like myths overall, in spiritual development or getting back on, like overall myths of well-being, you know?
Well, I've written so many blogs about this. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, we can take each angle, right, of what Gaiaville is, like health-wise or spiritual myths, you know, all of it, right, in different ways. And, like, it's just busting it, you know, like breaking through all of it and putting it out there, you know, for people to just get challenged.
Right, right. We can certainly discuss, well, the other thing is as well, we can begin to discuss the concern that people have with the earth would be global warming. What does that mean to me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
People are really concerned about this.
Yeah, but like, how do my personal, like,
habits, behaviors,
personal habits, you know, impact global warming or something? And personal habits in general, like people, it's that practice piece, right? I think people struggle with making good habits.
Right, exactly.
And I think that could be January even, like, because people are seeking to create a new life or new schedule, new habits. But what is the spiritual science behind habits? And that's where, I mean, I know Ayurveda, I could help support people with new habits according to nature's rhythms, which are then, that to me is tied to sustainability, to like our energy flows, but also to the planets, you know, in different ways. So there are different ways to do it, like habit change work through just mentally, you know, there's habit change work. There's ways to do it, and a couple people can share.
Maybe like New Year, new habits, spiritual ways of harnessing certain habits, like type of, you know?
Yeah, something like a catchy title around that, right? It has to be fun.
Yeah.
I have to apologize. In order to make the class, I have to leave you all, but thank you very much. I appreciate the ideas, and we'll be on board with more as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, let's think about it. This is not like it doesn't have to be now. We can think about it, come up with things.
Yeah.
Well,
I personally, to be honest, I don't get too much involved in stuff. Normally, I just like manage the process. So, if you don't mind, I'm not going to be like overly involved all the time.
Yep, that's
I'm just going to kind of just manage the.
Yep, that's
fine. That's why I asked you if you can just focus on getting.
I don't have time. I just can't because I'm moving apartments and then I'm starting to look for a new job because my job is on the line.
What are you looking for?
Oh, I don't know. My job is so unstable for the past 2 months. Huh?
Email. You should actually share it in the group, because if people don't know, they can't support you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so unstable and I'm feeling like I'm going to get the boot. So I need to I'm doing a resume. I'm trying to look for a new job, and what I have, my experience doesn't fit into any of the specific areas of expertise. So I'm trying to study this course in the meantime. So my contribution will be I manage processes. That's what I do. I don't get too much involved in the topic. I don't get too much, but I certainly.
I think that's needed.
It's needed. It's needed, Nara. It's really needed.
So I would prefer if we had somebody like that, you know, of somebody that's good on social media, that can manage the whole social media thing. I can tell them what to do, but they can manage the entire thing as well.
Okay.
If you know of anybody that's willing to give up their time.
You can put that as part of the email to the group, and someone can volunteer to anchor the social media part of it.
Yeah. So if somebody can volunteer, then I can work with them, tell them what to do, and then we can do it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
All right, ladies. I don't
topics coming up, I guess. I'll write an email to the group. I'll say that this is what we're thinking. I'm going to ask some people who can like volunteer their time to do specific whatever it is, and then we'll take it from there.
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right, ladies. I'm going to end the call because we're way past.
Here, I'll call in probably. I don't know. Then I need to get out of the house and come. I'd love to come.
Okay, you can call in. That's not a problem.
Yeah, but I'd prefer to be there in person. Okay. Maybe I'll make it. Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye, Shweta. I love you.
Bye.
Keep me posted how it goes with Mel.
I will.
But make sure you ask her about if she can advertise it in the newsletter.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
And that we can make maybe a nominal donation, or I don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
I don't know what her rates are these days for that, but she does a lot for free.